Social Cam, hey, this is Michelle. First I want to share with everybody that when I talk to you through a video, I am not driving. I am somewhere parked or either I am home. I would never do that. I cannot concentrate that well. So for everyone who's asking the question, am I driving? No, I'm not driving. Today is Sunday, and I wanted to share with you today. Finally, you're going to get to this topic that a lot of people have been asking about, and I'm going to be as brief as I can because I can go on and on about this subject because I walk through it every single day. But it's forgiveness. Do we really forgive, or do we apply forgiveness in our lives? I wanted to read just a verse out of Matthew, which is Matthew 5 and verse 22, which says, "Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come to the altar to offer their gift." Which is that simply saying is, if you're getting ready to present your gift to the Lord or do anything to the Lord, and you remember, or even if you think that your brother has a problem with you or your brother is upset with you, it didn't say if you're upset with your brother. It said if you remember or you even think that your brother has a problem with you, you put your gift down at the altar and you go back and you make that thing right with your brother before you even do anything, before you offer up anything to God, before you do praise and worship, before you praise dance, before you shout, before you preach. If you have a problem with your brother, or you even think that your brother has a problem with you, you are the one to go back and to make it right with that brother. You know, I used to have a problem with forgiveness, and he's still working with me. You know, I'm an honest person. He's still working with me in a couple things. But we're going to be held accountable, like I said in a couple videos before. We're going to be held accountable with how we handle things. Forgiveness does not mean I egg a person out, or I avoid them, or I don't speak to them. That's not forgiveness. That's not forgiveness at all. I used to be that kind of person where I would say, well, I forgive them, or I let it go, or, you know, or I'm not going to worry about it. And when service was over with, or on my job or what have you, I would shut down and I would not interact with that person. I wouldn't speak. Service was over with. Everybody's heading down the middle aisle to go home. I walked all the way around the church, all the way to the other side, because to me, in my mind, I kind of figure if I don't say anything to them, then I forgive them. You know, if I don't really express how I really, truthfully feel, then I forgave them. But then every time I would see the individual, so many negative feelings and things and stuff that they said or stuff that they done would pop back up in my head, and that's when I realized I did not forgive them. A lot of people do not know my story. I'll just share with you a little bit of it, and then maybe I'll talk about that in the next segment. But a couple of years ago, well, some years ago, I had a 3-year-old son, a little boy who I love dearly, and I love him to this day. Well, my son was murdered. He was beaten, and the doctor said that he died from a blow to the stomach. His intestines hit his rib, and he hemorrhaged to death. And the guy that actually harmed my son was a very, very close friend of mine, like a family member. And I went through years and years and years of not being able to forgive. Not being able to forgive not just one person. It was I had so many open doors in my life of unforgiveness and rage and hatred and all of that. And I called myself a Christian. but I couldn't understand it. You know, during those times, back in the day, the old school church folks, they said, you know, don't cry, don't let the enemy see you go through, you know, don't let people know that you're hurting, you know, be strong, be a strong Christian, let the Lord fight your battle. And I was very human. I was feeling it. I needed to cry. I needed to show some kind of emotions, but because they put that in my spirit so much, I didn't grieve. I walked through that whole thing portraying as if everything was okay and acting as if I was a strong individual. But when I got home at night and I got home to myself, I cried. I cried. It felt like it was a knife stuck in my side and it was just being twisted. And I didn't know how to pull that knife out. I didn't know what to do. It just was a unbearable pain. And every now and then I still get that same pain, not as much, but every now and then I get that same pain. And because the Christians of old said, don't cry, don't show no emotions, I didn't. And over the years went by, and I developed this thing of showing no emotions, showing no nothing. And I would come to church and I would praise the Lord and I'd try to get breakthroughs and all of that, and I still had this anger on the inside of me. I still had this hurt on the inside of me. I still had these thoughts of what I wanted to do to the individual that took my child away. And years 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 went by, and I was talking to my mother, and I said, I don't understand this. I don't understand why God chose for me to go through this. I don't understand why God chose for this pain to be so unbearable in my life. I just could not understand. I did not know the whole full story of what happened to my son, and as of today, I still don't know exactly what happened to my son. And you know, my mother was like, she said, you've got to learn to forgive because, you know, when God heals you, He's going to be able to use you to minister to other women and other hurting people who have children who have been murdered or don't have their children and things like that. And I still couldn't comprehend. I was so upset with God. I was so angry with God. I was so upset with the people. I was so upset I was so upset. I was so angry. And I would not forgive anybody. And I developed this wall around me where I didn't trust people. People would want to come in and want to help me, but I thought that they were trying to take something from me. So I went on and went on and went on and went on. And finally, you know, when I started saying, okay, God, I'm going to let you do this. I'll let you heal me. I'll let you do this. I kept saying, oh, I've forgiven them. I've forgiven them. I let it go. I let them go. I let it go. I still, over all these many years, hadn't seen this individual. Well, to make a long story short, the individual happened to walk in our church on a Sunday morning. And when he walked in the church, I realized I really hadn't forgiven. So I had to go in the bathroom and I had to get myself together. I was so emotional to get myself together because I'm a Christian and I'm a good Christian and I'm doing everything I can. But I always prayed, God, until I'm ready to forgive, please don't bring this individual in front of me. But when the individual comes in my pathway, please let me be in a place where I'm ready to let it go. Well, I came out of the bathroom, and the minister called me to the front, called him to the front. And everything that I thought I would do when I seen that individual went right out the window. We grabbed each other, and we hugged each other, and we both cried like babies. I mean, it's like even just talking about it now, I remember so clearly how it happened. And she came and she prayed for both of us. He wept, I wept. Eventually, within that day, he apologized and said he was so sorry. I broke. I mean, it was as if I was waiting forever for apology. It was like as if I was waiting forever to hear the words of, I'm sorry. So you may be saying, okay, well, where is she going with this story? After that day, I can say I totally forgave him. No hidden agenda, no motive, no nothing. Forgiveness, just I totally let it go. Forgiveness means to pardon, to have mercy. And that's what I did on that day. I've seen him a couple times, plenty of times. After that, there's nothing in my heart towards him. I don't bring it up. I don't try to make him remember. I don't ask about what happened that day. I just figure I put that in God's hand. All this whole situation, I put it in God's hand because God knows what he's doing. He knows why he's doing it. But throughout all the many years, it's a lot that I didn't share with you. Getting to the process of being able to let go, getting to the process of being able to forgive, I did a lot of things. I did a lot of things so I wouldn't feel the pain. But one thing I realized when I forgave him was that forgiveness wasn't just for him. Forgiveness was for me too. Because once I forgave him, I was able to move on with my life. I was able to go to the next chapter of being able to grieve. I was able to get to the next part of being healed just by saying, I let it go. I pardon you. I have mercy upon your life. And like I said, it freed him, but it freed me as well. So I'm going to cut this segment really short. What I want to leave with you is the fact that forgiveness is not avoiding someone. A lot of us are saying that we forgive people in our hearts, and honestly, we really haven't. We're just avoiding them. So be blessed on today. I will come back. I will speak a little bit more on that because there's several things that have happened in my life, and I literally had to walk through the forgiveness thing. I mean, you're looking at a person who was in the ministry full of rage and full of anger and full of hatred and still was trying to serve God too, but hadn't been healed myself. And as I said, I'm still in the process of being healed. I'm still in the process of being delivered. But the first step to getting all of that is to be honest and to say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what's going on with me. And when we can be honest with ourselves and we can be honest with God, that way God can work on our inner heart. He can work on the areas that man don't see. He can work on the areas that we don't let anybody in. But God can come in and he can heal us. So work on your forgiveness walk on today with your family member, your husband, with your wife, your brother, your sister. Work on that so you can be free. Not just them be free, but you be free. Be blessed. Have a great and a prosperous day.